Hello, everyone. I hope I'm live now. A very good evening to all, first of all. Those who are watching me live, can you guys give me the confirmation that whether I am clearly audible, properly visible, or not? And we will wait for a few seconds so that everyone will join the live. And in the meanwhile, if you have any sort of questions, anything you want to ask with respect to whatsoever things we have covered up so far in the previous week, if you have any sort of doubt apart from this, you can ask from me. We will wait for few seconds so that everyone will join, and then we will start the today's objective, which is about talking about the conditionals part. So before getting started, could you please guys confirm to me whether I am properly audible or not? Right? uh, Outside weather is also very bad, so might be there can be a trouble in between of the session as well. I'm not sure, but let's see how will it go. uh, Hope for the best, and everything we will see after that, right? uh, a very good evening, Divya. Yes ma'am, all perfect, thank you so much for the confirmation. Let me try to share my screen as well. In the meanwhile, if you have any sort of questions to ask, you can ask from me. Just give me a second. Let me share my screen. Mm, just give me a moment, guys. Just taking some time. Okay. Is my screen is visible, everyone? Can you guys give me the confirmation? This screen as well as this screen, coding screen. Is it visible? It is very perfect. Pranam, Mihir. Um, Previous lectures recap in 2 minutes. Yeah, we will do that. Don't worry. I'll do that. Not an issue. Okay. So let's start the session. The very first thing that I'll discuss today is about whatever things we have covered up so far in our playlist. So let's go back and try to revise whatever things we have covered up. So if you remember, we started with the mastering variables part in Python. I hope you all remember that part. After that, we have talked about the strings portion. I hope that you were there with me in that as well. After that, we have talked about the data structures that we have in Python. There we have talked about 4 different specific data structures that we have in Python. Started with list, then tuples, then dictionaries, right? And sets. After that, in the last session, I have talked about the conditionals part. So there we have talked about that how we can apply the if else condition in the complete code. We have talked about various problems. I have given you the practice problems also, and I'm expecting that everyone have already gone through with that questions. Now, what is the objective of today's session? Let's try to understand that part. Today's session is a bit focused on looping part. So at every point of time, whenever you want to repeat something, okay? For example, if I will say that, I want to repeat some statement 10 number of times. Let's say, very simple in a layman term, I'm saying that I want to print hello. I want to print hello, let's say 10 times. So you will say that one way is I will print the hello 10 number of times. You will write the statement of printing hello, and you can write this same statement how many number of times? 10 times. This is the one way, right? This is the one way to do the thing. Another way can be where you will say to me that what I will do is I'll try to apply a loops. I'll try to apply the loops. Now, what this loop will do, this loop will help us to write a small code. To write a, or you can say short line of code. Short lines of code. And one of the amazing thing of a good developer is that a good developer will always try to write a code in an optimized manner. What is the meaning of that? In a lower time and space complexity, plus a very short lines of code, which is very easily understandable. So that's where the loops concept came into picture. So what is the real-time application of loop? The simple real-time application is that at any point of time, if you feel like that there is a repetition of the same thing, then only you will always go for something called as a looping purpose. Is it clear to everyone? So at every point of time, wherever there is a repetition of any task, at any point of time, if there is a repetition of any task, at that moment, you will always go for something called as a loops in Python. Is that part is clear to everyone? Can I get confirmation from everyone here? Whosoever is watching me live? At what point of time, if let's say someone will ask to you, we should go for loops. Now I think everyone can talk about that. Mihir is asking, is it good to learn Python and JS together? It's completely your wish, but I believe that it would be great if you will just focus on any one programming language as the very start, and then step by step jump towards another programming languages. Rather than focusing on everything, just get expertise over one programming language, then it's very easy for you to switch to another languages as well. Okay, so many people give the confirmation, yes, it is clear. So we have just now talked about the real-time application, and you guys are telling to me that it is clear that at what point of time you should think about the loops. So wherever there is a repetition of task in any project, in any code, you will always focus on the loops part. Now, usually in other programming languages, you will always heard of 3 different types of loops. But in Python specifically, because we are focusing in this playlist specific to Python programming, so I will focus on that only. We will be having 2 different loop. One is something which you will heard of, a for loop, which we have in other programming languages as well. And the second is something which we have is while loop. While loop. Now I will talk about both the applications and how basically both loops will work. We will try to understand. Okay? So the very first thing is the for loop. How this for loop will work, let's try to understand. So basically, for example, there is a string which is given to you. And let's say the string is Priya. Now, what I'm saying to you that let's say this is a string str1, which is equals to Priya. Now, you know, every string character has its own index number, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I want is, I want to print each and every character present in a string. I am repeating my statement. What I am saying is, I want to print each and every state character present inside the string that I have. Means I want to print capital P first, followed by R, followed by I, followed by Y, followed by A, like that. So basically, again, what I want is I want to iterate inside the complete string that I have. For that, how can I do, right? So let's try to understand the format of how the for loop will work. So what you will do in order to print that, you will say one simple statement. You will say for I in str1. Now this thing will help you to take the character step by step. So what is happening is in str1, we will be having in total 5 characters. So it will take the character step by step and will try to print the value of I. It will try to print the value of I, right? Is this clear? So what I have said just now, let me try to do the implementation for the same as well. So what I'm saying is, I'm saying, so again, I'm using the Google Colab platform. That is what we are following from the very start of the playlist. str1, which is equal to, here we will be having triya. So what I want is, I want to iterate over the complete string that I have. That is what my real idea is all about. So what I'm saying is, what we can do, we can say for I in str1, I'll say simply print of I. Let's see what we will be able to get. Let's run this. I want everyone, those who can afford to have a laptop with them and open that Google Colab platform, please try to do the implementation with me. Then you will actually enjoy the session rather than just watching it. If you will do it with me, it is very helpful for you to understand the session in a very better manner. So here, if you will observe, every character we will be able to get. So what is happening? Initially, my I value will be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. So basically, what is happening? Step by step, we are iterating towards the complete str1, starting from 0 until the value of the length of the string -1, and we will be able to get the complete characters P, followed by R, followed by I, followed by Y, followed by A. Is that part is clear to everyone? So this is very, very important, that how this loop is traversing. Makes sense? Shall we move ahead now? This is the first use case which I have talked about, where our target is to actually traverse the complete string that we have. For example, I want to convert the string. I want to print the string in the uppercase. For example, I want to print this string of Priya in the uppercase. What I will do, I'll again say for I in str1, and I'll say print, which will basically help me to print the output. I'll say I dot upper. So what will happen? What will happen? I think those who have attended my string session, they know pretty well that upper function will help the character to convert it into a uppercase. So that is what is happening. Is that part is clear to everyone? Can I get some confirmation from everyone? Yes or no? Ankit is saying, I am in train network issue, but somehow I managed to see the channel because of your teaching, ma'am. Thank you so much, Ankit. But still, if you are not having a good network, you can just always refer the playlist where we are having the recorded videos as well. Okay? This is only for those who miss the session live. Okay, so everyone is giving me the confirmation. It is so far so good and it is clear to everyone. Well and good. Shall we move ahead now to the next important use case of a for loop? Okay, so basically here, if you will observe, this in operator is something which is trying to help me to traverse the string from the start till the very end. Okay, so this in operator is actually helping me to start the index from 0 and move until the value of the index number 4. Okay, let's move ahead. Now I will provide you one problem statement, and the problem statement looks like, let's say I'm saying that I'm having a list. Okay, in that list we will be having numbers. Now I am expecting everyone knows what is list. In the list we will be having few numbers. Maybe the numbers looks like 1, 2, 4, 7, 12, 14, 27, and so on. What I want is, I want to print the even numbers. Let's say I want to print only the even numbers that we have in this particular list. So how we can do? Anyone, any idea? So what is the problem statement? The problem statement looks like that we will be having a list. I hope that you must have heard this problem a lot many number of times. Given a list, print all the even numbers in the list. This is the problem statement that we have. So how we can do this problem? Anyone, any idea? What is the logic behind checking the even numbers? I hope everyone is aware about the logic. Simple logic will be what we have to do. Again, we have to traverse the complete elements in the list. So that's where we need to use the loop. So what we will use? We will use a for loop. So what we can do? We will say for individual number present in a list, for individual number present in a list 1, let's say this is the list 1, what we have to check, if that individual number, for example it is 1, if that number modulus 2 is equal to 0, what does that indicate? What is the meaning of a modulus? Modulus means remainder. So what we will do? We will try to check if we will try to divide the number by 2 and the remainder is coming out to be 0. At that point of time, what we can do? We can simply print the number. Else, we will not do anything. Else, we will not do anything. So that's it. That's the complete code that we want to do. So there's nothing we have to write in the else part as well. So basically, what is the thing which we have to understand here? That at any point of time, if the number modulus 2, the remainder which is given by this particular statement, if it is equals to 0, at that point of time, we will print the number. Otherwise, let them be. So here again, why you have to ask this question, that why we are using a for loop? Why there is a need to use a loop? Because we need to iterate the complete list that we have. That's the only reason. Will you be able to understand my point? So you have to understand in every question that why we are using the loops. What is the need behind that? One way can be that I will take one by one every index number, take the element and check it out. Another way can be applying a simple for loop. It will help me to completely iterate from the very first number till the very last number present in the list 1. Right? Is that clear to everyone? So I got the code from the Anurag as well in the chat window, which is very much apt. So here, if you will see, that is what I'm saying. For I in list 1, if the I modulus 2 is equal to 0, print that value. So the similar thing we will do here. So let me go back to the Colab platform. So what we are doing here is, we are saying, let's say we will be having list 1. Now here, if you will observe, I can't take the variable name as list, because list is a by default data type that we have, data structure that we have in Python. So you have to take maybe list 1. You can define the numbers. Let's say 2, 3, 6, 8, 12, 13, 17. Okay. This is the list we have. Now what I want is, I am saying for I in list 1, do one thing. If I, or you can take the variable as number, because I have mentioned the number in the blackboard. So you can say the number modulus 2, if it is equal to 0. Now can you see, this is something is called as a conditional statement that we already have discussed in our last session, right? This is something that we have already discussed in our last session. So if the number modulus 2, so at any point of time, if this condition which is written after if will get satisfied, what I am saying, print the value of number. Print the value of the number. That's it. So let's run this. What is happening? I'm getting the values as 2, 6, 8, and 12. Are you getting my point? So whatever number is the even number, you will be able to get the elements of that. Yes or no? Is that easy? Now let me modify this statement a bit. Here I have returned the answer, right? Here I have returned the answer. What I want is, I want to store it in another list. I want to store my answer in a list and I want to print the elements inside that list. So how we can do that? Anyone? Any idea? So what I'm saying is the same code is there. But here the question is, I don't want to print directly. I want to store my elements in a separate list. How can I do? What I can do, maybe I can take one list 2, which is an empty list, right? And after that, what I can do, I can say list 2 dot. Now, those who have watched my session of mastering Python data structures with real-time examples, they only will be able to understand this part, that in the list, we will be having a function called as append, in which we can append the value. And finally, once I will move out of this for loop, what I can do is I can print the numbers. Yes or no? Not numbers, I can print the list too, because now we have stored those numbers inside the list too. Make sense? Let's try to see. Let's see we are getting the same answer or not. So can you see? Initially, we are getting the answer as a 2, 6, 8, 12 in the printing format. Now we are getting an answer in the form of a list. How will you able to understand that this is a list? Just by the brackets. Can you see the brackets? Outside and ended bracket. So here we will be able to get the value as 2, followed by 6, followed by 8, followed by 12. Is it part is clear to everyone? Easy? Shall we move ahead to the next important problem statement, with the help of which step by step you will be able to understand that at what point of time we should go for the looping part. Shall we move ahead now to the next important part, everyone? Can I get some confirmation? So I hope everyone have heard of the concepts of factorial in maths. Factorial. I hope everyone knows what is factorial. If let's say I'll ask from you, what is 5 factorial? So what is the answer of that? What is the answer of that? So Ankit is asking, is recursion exist in Python? Yes. In the upcoming module, we will talk about complete recursion only. That will be very, very important topic. Okay? So yes, we have a concept of recursion. Although I have already had a great discussion in my DSA using Python playlist with respect to recursion. But in this playlist also, I will talk about recursion in the live session. In the upcoming session, we will talk about recursion concept also. So very important concept. That's why I'm taking it again in this playlist as a fresh concept. So yes, many people have given the correct answer that when we're talking about the factorial of a 5, as many students have said, it is 120. So how we are evaluating that? Factorial says the number multiplied with the decrement of that number, 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So what is the answer we will be able to get? 5 4 the 20 into 360 into 2, 120. So we will be able to get the answer as 120, 120. Now, is there a need to use the concept of looping in implementing the factorial code? Anyone? Any answers do you have? I want to implement a code of factorial. So how will I do? That's where, so until so far, whatever discussion we have made, we have talked about for loop. Now I am jumping towards the while loop. What will happen? Let's try to understand. What will happen? Please focus here. What is the number we have? We have a number which is equals to 5. Now you know that in the best case scenario, when the number is 0 or when the number is 1, the answer will come out to be, what is 0 factorial? What is the answer of 0 factorial? Anyone who can give me the answer? I hope everyone knows 0 factorial answer is 1. 1 factorial answer is also 1. Yes or no? So what I can take is, I can take one variable by the name of a factorial whose answer is equals to 1. Vikas, it's not 0. 0 factorial is 1. Many people assume that it is 0, but the factorial, if you will go and check it out today, you will find out that the factorial of 0 as well as 1 is 1. Okay? So now what I am doing is, I am just initiating my value as the answer as 1. Now, what I will do, I'll apply one while loop. Please try to understand what is the implication of this while loop. While loop says until the condition is true, until this condition is true, what I will do, I will keep on multiplying this variable of factorial with the number. Okay. And then I'll decrement this number value by 1. And finally, once I will move out of this while loop, I will print the value of factorial. Now let's try to understand how is this code is working on. Okay? What is happening? Initially, my number value is 5. So what you are doing? You are saying your factorial value will be this, meaning is factorial into the value of number. This is what you are trying to do here. So you will be having factorial into number and you are updating that inside the factorial value. Okay? This is the bigger form of what I have written here. So what is happening is you are saying 1 into the number is 5. So the answer will become 5. Then you are decreasing the number by 1. So your value of num will become 4. Make sense? So far so good. Can I get the confirmation from everyone? Is it part is clear to everyone? Can I get some confirmation from everyone? NumPy, Pandas or Matplotlib ki videos, once we will complete the basic to intermediate portion of Python, then we will move ahead towards this part. So it will take some time. Before that, there are so many things which we have to cover up in Python. Okay? So this part is clear? Okay, perfect. So now let's move ahead. What will happen now? Still, my number value is 4. Is the value of 4 is bigger than 0? Yes, the condition is again true. So now what will happen? Your factorial value will become, what is the value already available? 5 into number is 4, which will come out to be 20. So now your new factorial variable will become 20. Now your factorial variable will get updated to 20. And then again, what is the next step? Decrement the value of number by -1. So what will happen? You will decrease the value of 4 from 4 to 3. Again, 3 value is bigger than 0. Again, what you will do? You will say, what is the already present value of a factorial? It is 20 into the number is 3. So the new value will come out to be 60. Again, what you will do? What is the next step? Number decrement by -1. Value will become 2. Again, the value of 2 is bigger than 0. So what you will do? 60 into 2. The answer will come out to be 120. Again, what you will do? You will decrement the number by 1. Again, 1 is bigger than 0. So the factorial will come out to be 120 into number value is 1. So the answer will become again 120. And that is where, again, when you will decrement the value of number to 0, your condition of while loop will not get satisfied because 0 is not bigger than 0. And finally, what will happen? It will move out of this while loop and print the factorial. So what is the final value that you have in factorial? It is 120 that you have. So finally, you will print the value which is 120. Is it part is clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? Yes or no? Or do you want me to explain again what I have just now talked about? Is this clear? So basically, we started with a number for which we want to find a factorial. And then until the condition is satisfied, what I have done, I have run two statements. First statement is doing a multiplication. Second statement is doing a decrement operator in the number value. So until my condition is satisfied, it will keep on running the statement number 1 and statement number 2. Again, see, the concept of looping came into picture because I want to repeat the statement 1 and 2 again and again. Until my condition is meeting up, I want the statement to be repeatedly executable. That's why I have used the concept of looping here. Can you see? Again and again, because we want to repeat the execution of 1 and 2, that's where we are using the concept of while loop. So Vikas asked one amazing question. Ma'am, there is no do while loop in Python? Yes. So usually if you are comfortable, if you already are aware about any other programming language, for example, Java, for example, C++, you must have seen the do while loop as well. But in Python, we have only these two loops. One is for loop, one is while loop. And I think whatever task do we have, we amazingly able to do with the help of these two loops that we have, for and while. So what I will do now is I'll try to do the implementation of the same question before we will proceed ahead. Okay? So let's move ahead now. So what I will do here is I'll again take a number. Let's say we want to find out the factorial of 5 only. So what we will do now? We will take one variable factorial which is equals to 1. What we will do? Until my number is bigger than 0, do the things. The two steps we want to do. What are those two steps? Anyone who can tell me? What was the first step? What was the first step? First step was to update this factorial variable. Either you can write like this, into equals to that number, or you can also write like this, factorial equals to factorial into number. One and the same thing. Okay? After that, what you want to do? You want to decrement the value of number. Now at any point of time when these conditions will get unsatisfied, means when I will move out of this while loop, I will print the value of factorial. Is this correct? Everything is correct here? Shall we try to run this? So what is the answer we're getting? 120. Let's change this value to maybe 6. So it will be 720, which is very much correct. Is this part is clear to everyone? Yes or no? Yes or no? Now, Anurag's side, one amazing question, which I thought of giving to you all as a today's first assignment problem. So, light is went, but I think I am clearly audible. So, the next question, which Anurag was saying, that can we do the same thing via the for loop? So, what I want from you all, at your home, try to think the logic that can we do the implementation of the same code via applying the for loop. So can we do that? What do you think? Same thing, I want a factorial of a given number, but via the for loop. Okay? We'll talk about that. Before that, I just want your responses, but we'll talk about this in a later while once you will try to apply this. Okay? Now let's move ahead to the next important thing which I want to talk about now. Let's say you want to add the numbers in a given list. So you will be having this list 1. What I want is, I want you all to do the summation of all the values available in the given list. Can you guys give me the code? It's just a one line of a code. Summation of all the values available in the given list. How we can do that? Can anyone tell me? Those who are watching me live. So list 1 contains the elements, right? I want the addition of all these things. So what is the code I will apply here? Anyone? Very simple. What we have to do again, we want a summation. So we can take one variable which we can initialize with 0. What we can do, again, because I have to iterate over the complete list of numbers that I have, what I will do, I'll say for number in the list 1 that we have, what we can do, we can say sum is equal to sum plus the numbers that we have. And once we will move out of this for loop, what we can do, we can simply print the sum value. Is this work fine? Is this work fine? Everyone, what do you think? Will this work fine? Let's run this. Yes, it is running perfectly fine. Yes, is it correct? Shall we move ahead? Now, I'll talk about one very interesting use case, which might be many of you have not heard of. We have talked about if else condition in our last session. But have you heard of something called as for else use case in loops in Python? Again, this is specifically for Python that we have, not for other programming languages. So whatever talk I am doing here, please make sure that this is what is happening in Python programming language. Okay? So what does this else will do? Let's say we will be having the same problem which we have in above case. Okay? And then, or maybe let's take very simple example. Maybe I'll take str2, which is equals to maybe Ankit. Ankit. Now, what I want is for I in str2, I am printing all the characters present in str2. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is else, and here I'm printing one more thing. Loop executed successfully. Let's see what we will be able to get. Or let's do one more thing. Let's print I itself. What is happening? Have you observed this thing? It is trying to print me each and every character that we have. And at the very end, we are getting the result as loop execute successfully. So what is happening? What this else condition will do in for else statement in Python? At any point of time or at any situation, if you want to check it out, that is your loop have run successfully till the very end. At that scenario, you will always try to apply else condition and write a statement which shows you that whether your loop has successfully executed or at any point of time it gets interrupted and will not able to execute the complete string or the list or the dictionary you have. Is it clear? Is it clear to everyone? Yes or no? Now I will give you one more scenario where you will be able to see the better implication of this particular for else condition. For example, if I'll say that I will be having a list 1, I will be having a list 1, and I'm saying that at any point of time when you will met this number 8, stop. So that's where I will introduce one more concept of a break. So let's try to see what I'm doing here. I'm saying for I in list 1, do one thing. If at any point of time I is equals to 8, do one thing, break. Now, how many of you knows? And after that, again, I apply the else statement by printing loop executed successfully. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of break? First of all, let's try to understand. Again, a very important statement which we will use a lot many number of times. And many people are confused in this particular keyword, what this keyword does. What is happening? We are saying apply a for loop means it will start from the I value as 2, will run step by step till the very end. But we have applied one conditional statement in between. What we are saying? We are saying at any point of time, if the value of I will become 8, what you will do? Break. Break basically helps to make the loop stop and come out of the loop. Means after looking this break, it will not go outside. Is this clear? Is this clear to everyone? So what I'm saying is this break condition will help us if the condition gets satisfied. It will not go until the very end. And because the loop will not go until the very end, this else statement will not run. Now I will show you the demonstration of this. So what I will do, I'll print the value of I, and I'm saying at any point of time, if this condition is meeting up, stop it. Let's see. Can you see one thing here? After 8, after 8, it is not moving ahead. And that's why I'm not getting the answer as loop executed successfully. And if I apply this else condition outside the for loop, the talk which I was doing in the earlier part, now see again. What is happening? Outside the for loop, when I applied in terms of for else, I am not getting the statement as loop executed successfully. Can anyone tell me why is that so? The only reason is that our loop is not running from the start till the very end. It is interrupted in between. By applying that break, I move out of the for loop, and that's why my loop has not executed successfully, and that's why I'm not getting the output like this. This print statement is not coming up. Is it part is clear to everyone? Why and at what point of time this else statement will be executed, and at what point of time it will not get executed, at what point of time you should apply this statement, and at what point of time you should not apply. Is that part is clear to everyone? For else, so everyone knows about if else, but maximum people are not aware about this for else part that we have in Python, which basically helps us to get the idea that whether the loop is executed successfully or not. Is that clear? Now I think if any situation will come up in your project, you will be able to get that. To skip, we use continue. Yes, continue is the opposite of that. So if we want to skip that situation, we will use continue. But as of now, we have used the break, which basically moves out of the for loop. Is that part is clear to everyone? Can I get some confirmation so that I will move ahead? Please make sure that you guys will like the video. I don't need to say it again and again, right? And do share these videos, this quality content with each and everyone on LinkedIn. It really helps me and means a lot to me, because I also want to reach to wider audience, as I always say, right? Let's move ahead. Now I will talk about some amazing concept with respect to the looping part. And this concept is very, very useful in interviews. How many of you have listened the term two pointer concept? Two pointer concept. In solving so many interview questions, we use this kind of a concept. So let's try to talk about this. The problem statement is that, let's say I am saying that I want to reverse a list. I want to reverse a list. For example, let's say you will be having a list 2, which is composed of numbers like 2, 5, 8, 12, and 17. So, what I want as an expected output is I want the output as a list which is like 17, 12, 8, 5, and 2. So this is the complete idea. So the problem statement is that this is very widely asked interview question as well. What they can say to you that we are providing to you a list. We are providing to you a list, and what you have to do is you need to reverse that list. This is the problem statement, right? Is it clear? So this is the problem statement. Now the question is how we will be able to approach that. In order to approach this kind of a problem, I am introducing you today a very crucial concept which really helps you in the interviews as well, if you will listen for the next few minutes very carefully. The concept is a two pointer technique. Usually many people ask me that what is the way to learn the competitive programming problems or interview based problems. I always say try to understand the approaches. We have limited approaches, but we have unlimited questions. So if you will understand the techniques that will help us to solve the problem, that will be really beneficial for you all. And this is one of the technique. Try to understand what is the problem statement that we have. So we will be having a list, right? And we have numbers inside that: 2, 7, 9, 12, 15, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What I will do, I'll try to take two pointers here. One is the low pointer, whose value will be equal to 0. One is the high pointer, whose value is equals to 4. Always remember, very crucial approach and very interesting approach. Now, what we have to do? Yeah, one way Dinesh have already talked about, and I think this approach I already have talked about in the last video when I was talking about the string operations. That's where we have discussed a simple reversal operation, colon colon minus one, slicing operations. That's where I have talked about. But here I'm not talking about that approach because we already have discussed that. If, let's say, why I'm talking about this approach, this is not only for this question of reversal. In many questions, you will observe that this technique is very helpful. So that's why please pay attention, because sometimes what happened is that it might be the case that they will say do the reversal from index number 1 to index number 3. Okay? So then you can't apply that shortcut colon colon minus 1. So you have to understand how the things will work. Try to see how the approach of two pointer will work. And why it is calling as a two pointer? Because here, if you will observe, we will be having two variables which we are using, low and high. Low and high, right? So what is happening here? How basically we are doing this? We are saying, again, that's where the concept of loop will come into picture. We will say, until my low index is less than the high index, what we will do? If you will observe, the reversal meaning is that I want to swap the two values. The last value will come first and the first value will come last. Can I say, everyone? This is the literal meaning of reversal. Is this correct? A swap is required. So what I will do, I want to swap between the value of list of low and list of high. Yes or no? And finally, if the swap is done, what we will do? We will increment the low value because I want to move ahead, and we will decrement the high value. So we will increment the low value by 1 and we will decrement the high value by minus 1. Is this clear? What I have done here, is this clear? So a very simple thing we have done here is that we have tried to take two pointers. Now your low value will become 1, your high value will become 3. Again, you will repeat the step. What step you will repeat? You will try to again swap the values of 7 and 12 with like this. Finally, again, you will increment the value of low, which will become 2. Decrement the value of high, which will become 2. And because now your value of low is not less than high, your condition will be false. And finally, when you will move out of this while loop, you will print the elements present inside the list. You will print the elements present inside the list. Is this clear to everyone, what I'm saying here? So why this approach is usually famous by the name of two pointers? Because here we are using two variables. One is the starting one, which is pointing to the very first value in the array or in the list. One is the ending one, which is focusing on the very last value in the list. And when I'm saying swap, in Python, swap is very easy. What you have to do? Just you want to insert list of low, list of high, with whatever value present in the list of high, it will go in the list of low, and whatever be the value present in list of low, it will go in the list of high. Within one line. This is the beauty about Python programming language. In Java, in other programming languages, we usually write 3 lines of code, taking a temp variable and so on. Here it's very easy. Just by doing a simple assignment, we will be able to do the swap very easily. So what I have done here, let me just give you a brief overview again. So what I am saying here is that we will be having two pointers. One is a low pointer, which is pointing to the lower index. One is high pointer, which is pointing to the higher index. Now, how will you get to know what is the higher index? You know len function, which we already have discussed in our playlist. Len of the list 2. Let me define this list 2 as well. So let's define this list 2 is equals to 2, 5, 8, 12, and 17. So this value will give me the size, minus 1 will be the higher index value, right? Now what I am saying is I will apply one for loop. After that, what is the syntax of while loop? While, what is the condition that we have? Low value will be less than high. Until my this condition is satisfying, what I will do, first thing is I'll swap the value of list2 of low with the list2 of high, because we want to do the reversal. So how basically we will do, we will say list2 of low comma list2 of high, which is equals to list2 of high comma list2 of low. Is this clear? The very first step is the swap. Once the swap is done, what is the next step? What is the next step? By the way, this double slash is helping us to write a comment in Python. I hope you have observed this thing. So whenever I'm writing a comment, I'm using double slash, which basically helps me to write a comment in Python programming language. So here, if you will observe, the next step is to increment the low pointer and decrement the high pointer. Yes or no? So basically what we will do, we will say low is equal to low plus 1, high is equals to high minus 1. And finally, when we will move out of this while loop, we will print, what we will print? What is now available in the list 2. Is this clear? Yes or no? Can I get some confirmation from everyone? Okay, so अंकित is saying, दीदी आपको नहीं लगता कि अगर हम बहुत ज्यादा बिल्ट इन फंक्शंस का यूज करेंगे तो हम लॉजिकल वर्क नहीं कर पाएंगे, जस्ट लाइक इन पाइथन? अभी तो वी आर नॉट एनी हाउ यूजिंग एनी बिल्ट इन फंक्शंस. पाइथन में मैं मानती हूं कि वी हैव लॉट ऑफ एब्स्ट्रैक्शन लेयर्स, दैट्स वेरी ट्रू, पर वी शुड हैव अ अवेयरनेस ऑफ दैट. इट ऑल डिपेंड्स. देखो, अगर आप प्रोजेक्ट करने जाओगे या मान लो कि आप इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हो, आपका फर्स्ट राउंड है, आपके पास 50 मिनट्स ही हैं, तो वहां पे आपको अगर टेस्ट केसेस बिल्ट इन फंक्शन से पास होके आपके रिजल्ट आ रहे हैं, आपका क्वेश्चन कुछ और है, उसमें लेट्स से कि सॉर्टिंग एक स्टेप है, तो वहां पर आपको मर्ज सॉर्ट नहीं लगाना. मैं हमेशा बोलती हूँ ये बात कि ऑलवेज रिमेंबर व्हाट्स द क्वेश्चन अ यूजर इज आस्किंग फ्रॉम यू. Advantage of built-in function is that you can solve your questions very easily and very fastly within a limited time frame. So जहां पर हम use कर सकते हैं, we should definitely use that, and to use that we should be aware about that, right? There is nothing harm in doing that. And talking about कि हमारी logical ability खत्म हो जाएगी, ऐसा नहीं होगा. Questions अलग हैं, questions को करने का तरीका अलग है, ways अलग है. Built-in functions तो उसके अंदर एक step है. अब किसी को पता ही नहीं लॉजिक क्या लगाना है, तो हाउ विल दैट पर्सन विल बी एबल टू यूज द बिल्ट इन फंक्शंस, राइट? सो दैट्स समथिंग व्हिच विल नॉट हैपन. Okay, so Vikas is requesting me to repeat the concept again, so I'm repeating it again. So what is happening is we will be having 2 pointers. So the problem statement is, I'm again repeating this concept completely because it's very, very important concept. Please watch it very carefully, because this same concept you can apply in so many different problems. Listen this. For example, you will be having value 2, 4, 8 and 6. Firstly, the problem statement is we want to reverse it. Meaning what we want is, as an output is 6, 8, 4, 2. So what we will do, let's say we will be having one more variable 10. We will be having the index number 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. अब हमारे पास क्या है? We will be having one low variable which is pointing to the lower index. तो मेरे पास में एक low variable है जिसका काम क्या है? lower index को लेके चलना. एक मेरे पास high variable है जिसका काम क्या है? high index को लेके चलना, which is 4. अब हमने क्या किया? हमने एक while loop लगाया और हमने बोला जब तक मेरा lower index की वैल्यू छोटी है higher index की वैल्यू से, do one thing. What is that thing? Swap the values. Swap the value of air of low with air of high. स्वैप कर दो. रिवर्सल का मतलब यही तो होता है कि भाई पहले वाली वैल्यू आखिरी वाली वैल्यू से स्वैप हो जाए, फिर सेकंड वैल्यू लास्ट सेकंड से स्वैप हो जाए. यही काम हम कर रहे हैं. हम कह रहे हैं कि इसको और इसको स्वैप कर दो, लो की वैल्यू 0 है, हाई की वैल्यू 4 है, 10 यहां चला गया, 2 यहां चला गया, कर दिया जी। क्या ये रिवर्स हो गई? नहीं, रिवर्स नहीं हुई। अभी हमें क्या करना होगा? वी हैव टू इंक्रीज द लो पॉइंटर, क्योंकि हमें आगे भी तो एरे में काम करना है ना, यही सेम काम, और हाई की वैल्यू को डिक्रीज करना पड़ेगा। सो दैट्स व्हाट वी हैव डन। तो लो वैल्यू क्या हो गई? 1, हाई वैल्यू क्या हो गई? 3। अब फिर से कंडीशन चेक होगी, क्या मेरे लो की वैल्यू हाई से कम है क्या? 1 3 से छोटा है क्या? हाँ है। फिर से स्वैप करेंगे तो क्या होगा? 6 यहां आएगा, 4 यहां चला जाएगा, राइट? आफ्टर दैट व्हाट हैपेंस? फिर से स्टेटमेंट रिपीट करोगे, लो की वैल्यू को बढ़ाओगे, हाई की वैल्यू को घटाओगे। अब क्योंकि आपकी लो और हाई की वैल्यू सेम है, तो ये कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई नहीं होगी। कंडीशन से सेटिस्फाई नहीं होगी मतलब आप व्हाइल लूप से बाहर निकलोगे और आप क्या कहोगे? अब प्रिंट कर दो मेरी एर को या लिस्ट को, जो भी आपने नाम दे रखा है। तो आपने प्रिंट कर दिया। अब अगर आप ऑब्जर्व करो, जो आपके पास में अपडेटेड एरे आई विच इज 10 6 8 4 2, ये रिवर्स है प्रीवियस वाले का। अब समझ में आया? दिस अप्रोच इज समथिंग विच वी कॉल्ड एज टू पॉइंटर अप्रोच, क्योंकि यहां पर हम दो वेरिएबल्स को लेके कंप्लीट रिवर्सल कर रहे हैं, और ऐसे अप्रोच को अपन बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स में आगे यूज करेंगे। सो एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम इन एनी प्रॉब्लम, whenever you feel like ki reversal is required or you have to switch between the two values, always think of this approach. It's very very beneficial. Why it is beneficial? Because आप सिर्फ एक ही बार आप सिर्फ एक ही बार लूप लगा के पूरा आइट्रेशन कर रहे हो और रिवर्सल करके दिखा रहे हो। इसमें जो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी होती है, नाउ लेट मी टॉक अबाउट द की टर्म एज कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी। कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी मतलब कि व्हाट इज द टाइम रिक्वायर्ड टू एग्जीक्यूट योर कोड। व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, वो डिपेंड करता है कि हाउ मेनी लूप्स यू आर अप्लाइंग इन अ कोड, how many loops you are applying, because that many statements are running in a code. So when you're applying a single while loop, in that case it will be big O of n, where n is the size of the array. If you want to get a deep understanding of what is time complexity, what is space complexity, I will highly recommend you to please go and check it out, the DSA using Python playlist. The very first initial sessions you will be able to get that. Clear hai? Is that part is clear to everyone? So if you will go and check it out, this DSA using Python playlist, in the very initial sessions, big O time complexity, omega time complexity, theta time complexity, है ना? Complexity classes, all these are the very in detail sessions which I think everyone should refer in order to get a good understanding of what is the meaning of time complexity, how basically we will evaluate that. Okay? So please go and check this out, these videos in DSA using Python. I'll not go in a very great detail because I already have delivered that to you all. But yeah, I hope whatever I'm trying to explain just now is pretty much clear to everyone. Is this clear? The reversal operation? Anyone, any doubt? Specifically, the two pointers approach, which I have explained. So let me try to run this code now. Let's see whether we're getting a correct output or not. So can you see the output is 17, 12, 8, 5, and 2. This is what we will be able to get here. Can you see that? In a very amazing manner, we will be able to get the output. सो इजी, आप समझाते हैं तो बहुत जल्दी समझ आ जाता है। या इट्स ऑल अबाउट द अंडरस्टैंडिंग, ठीक है ना? इफ यू विल डेवलप इट वेरी करेक्टली, एवरीथिंग इज वेरी इजी। इज दिस क्लियर एवरीवन? सो टुडे मेजरली आई हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट two important loops in Python. I have talked about for loop. Then I have talked about while loop. I have talked about practice questions with respect to the same. I have talked about the for and else use case. Please note it down. Many people are not aware about this use case. Okay? So these are the three important crucial points or key takeaways from this today's session. Okay? Now, at the very end, as I always give a practice problem, So today's problem for you all is that can you write a code, write a code to check whether the number is a prime number or not. Prime number or not. So obviously you have to use the loops here. Now, which loop will you use, for loop or while loop? It's again your wish, your way of doing the problem. But what I'm looking for is that if the number is a prime number, let's say if a user will enter the number as suppose 16, so he or she will be able to get the answer as that it is not a prime number. And if let's say user will enter the number as 2, so we will get it as a prime number. So this is the complete logic which I want from you all, and I'm looking for your response in the chat window, in the comment section of the video. Let's see who will be able to give me a correct logic of checking that whether a given number is a prime number or not. So if I just run your code and if I'll just enter these kind of a numbers, I should be able to get appropriate answer. And obviously to implement that, you will have to use the loop part. So let's see who will be able to give me the correct result. Okay. So let me take the questions now. So one student is asking, have you made a DP videos? Yes. If you will go back to my DSA using Python playlist and we'll check that out, you will find out that we will be having a dynamic programming based videos as well in the very end. So let me go down, down. So can you see introduction to dynamic programming, exploring DP for efficient Fibonacci series. Even I have taken the live sessions also for the lead code based problems. So you can check it out and explore the problems there. Okay. I'm getting much idea about nested loops, much for problem solving. That's great. That's great. Prime number is a number which must have two factors, one in itself. That's the correct definition of a prime number. So now you have to write a logic in such a way that if let's say if a user will enter a number, he or she will be able to get the correct output that whether this is a prime number or not actually. I hope you're getting my point. Everyone got the problem statement. So this is the problem statement or practice problem for today after learning all these stuffs from this session. So what you have to do now is, one thing is I really want everyone, which I'm not getting from anyone actually, from the very starting of the playlist, if you will observe, I'm saying you one point. I want everyone's one point, which is that whatever things I have conveyed in the sessions, give the complete, not complete in a brief what things you have learned. But as of now, I think I didn't get the actual comment for that. Second important thing is I want that whatever practice problems I'm giving to you, you will give me the logic for that, so that I will be able to understand that whether you have learned something out of it. That's the only reason of giving the practice problems. So it will be really helpful for you all, because as I always say कि सिर्फ समझने से कुछ नहीं होगा until or unless you will not put your own efforts and try to implement your code on your own, right? So if you will do that, it will be really helpful for you all, not for me. And I'm saying everything for you all only, not for myself. So please try to understand that part, and whatever practice problems I'm giving to you at the end of the session, please try to do that. Okay. Rajiv is saying, great to see you, ma'am. Great to see you, everyone. Okay, any other question anyone is having? Any other question anyone is having? I hope you find the session insightful. Yes or no? Okay, if there are no questions, then I think, okay. Many people are asking next video kab aayega. So I am planning to schedule the next session very soon. Uh, Acha, those who have not joined the uh, live, I would request, sorry, WhatsApp channel link. I would request everyone to join that. In the pinned chat window itself in this session, I have attached the link. So, whatever be the updates of the upcoming live sessions, I usually give the updates there only. So, please make sure that you will join the WhatsApp channel link, and you will be connected with me via LinkedIn as well. I'll make sure, I don't know the exact dates when I'll come up next live. That's why I have created a separate WhatsApp channel and the LinkedIn post I usually do. So make sure that you will use that thing to get the idea. Okay, then let's end the today's session. I'll see you all very soon in the upcoming sessions. Bye bye, everyone, and see ya.